that feeling anxious, that's to do with our mental health and our well-being, and that doesn't mean that we're really poorly.
100%. I completely agree.
It's just normalising, but there's a huge spectrum of mental health as well.
There is definitely men and boys and girls and men and women have been definitely treated differently.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When I was promoting mental health, the big campaign was like 1 in 4 people have a mental health problem throughout their life. I think it's everyone.
I think you totally agree.
Like, if you absolutely no chance. Like, you're getting away with no mental health problems.
No.
I think maybe you're right when people say the word mental health problems, they think something that's like massively disabling.
Yeah.
And for some people, it can be more disabling than others. Hey, everyone. Big thanks for supporting the podcast. We really do appreciate it. If you want to hear more from us, hit the subscribe button or press the bell icon for future updates. Welcome.
Thank you.
Emma and Kate, how are you doing?
Really good, yeah, really good to be here.
Yeah, good, thank you.
Cool. Do you want to introduce yourself?
So I'm Emma Dalrymple, Chief Exec at Hull and East Yorkshire Mind.
I'm Kate Carroll, Head of Charity and Community at Nisa Wholesale, which is part of the Co-op group.
Great. So, I mean, Emma, we used to work together years ago, which is weird.
Yeah.
But great. That was reunited. So you are now the CEO of quite a large charity. Is it the 3rd biggest mind in the country?
Yeah, it's in the top 5.
Yeah. How have you managed that? I think there'll be quite a lot of people that'll be like, wow, how has she achieved that? How has she got to that kind of like level?
Yeah, I mean, it's been quite a journey, really. I joined Mind in 2008. I think you were already there then, weren't you?
Yeah.
You were quite new as well.
Yeah.
And at that time, mental health funding was really, really difficult to get. And I think 2008 was a good year for us, but after that, we started to shrink. And we got to about 2014, and at the time, I was admin manager.
Yeah, you were.
And
which kind of running the ship anyway.
Yeah, I was doing the job, really. We got to about 2014, 15, and we were ready to sort of drop off the edge of a cliff. Our staff had gone down to about 45.
Yeah.
So we'd really reduced staffing.
When was that, sorry?
Around 2014, 15. Yeah, I think so.
So about 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was. And we had a chief exec at the time that was our old finance manager.
Yeah.
And he was kind of ready to retire, really.
Yeah.
So we needed to inject something into it, and we managed to recruit a really good chief exec that was all he wanted to do was go out and promote what we do.
Yeah, I remember seeing him come in and noticing the difference actually from an outsider looking in.
Yeah, he was amazing, and he came in and he just changed everything in terms of we need to talk about ourselves, we need to put ourselves out there. And what transpired then was that he was kind of going out and doing everything, and I became ops director, and I was managing everything internally. And that was where I was comfortable, because really I am a bit of an introvert. Honestly, I am. And nobody ever believes it. And because I am outgoing, I am confident, but, you know, I'm happiest when I'm talking to people that I know.
Yeah.
And anyway, he stayed with us for a couple of years, nearly 3 years, and he asked me to go for the job. And I said, absolutely not. I can't do it. I can't be going out and talking about Mind. I can't go and meet all these like chief execs that seemed so important to me.
Do you think that was like what people now describe it as like imposter syndrome?
Massively, massively. I think that I just didn't feel that I was the right personality. I didn't feel like I knew enough. It was everything I was telling myself, because everybody else was saying to me, just do it. You know, you are the right person for the job. But I didn't see that. So we did recruit another chief exec. I didn't go for it. I said, absolutely not. I'm comfortable doing all this internal stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't.
So you didn't go
apply
for it?
No, I didn't want to be interviewed by the trustees. That was my reason.
What?
Because they know me, and I thought I won't be able to answer any of the questions. I just didn't think that I'd be able to do it.
God.
I was so unsure of the confident person I am now. I wasn't then. And so we did recruit somebody, but she only stayed with us about 3 months. She just wasn't right. And I was watching her do the job, and I was thinking, I actually could do it. I really could do it.
It's amazing the confidence it gives you when you, someone who you perceive as successful or is good at their job, are actually quite shit at their job. And you're like, actually, I can do it better.
It was that feeling. And I thought, God, yeah, maybe I can do this. So the trustees talked to me and asked me to do it as an interim to start with, which I did. And I had sleepless nights.
Did you?
I had a recurring nightmare that I was getting trapped in a safe in the office because I was so scared about this job that just felt so massive and important, intimidating.
Well, it is. I think when you're the leader, basically, of an organisation of quite a lot of staff and team members, it is a responsibility, isn't it? It's quite a big responsibility.
It is. It really is. And I think that's where the imposter syndrome really comes in, because we're all the same at the end of the day. And what happened was I had to go out. I was given a list of people that I had to talk to, and that included the chief exec at Humber Foundation Trust, senior leaders at the local authorities. And
so say you were given the list. Who gave you? Is that something that you came up with, or was that someone else's idea that you had to do?
Yeah, so the ex-chief exec, the good one, he'd left a list of important contacts. And the person that came in that didn't stay had started to meet those people.
Right.
But it hadn't gone very well. So then I was given the list.
Was that one of the reasons why she didn't last very long?
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know the ins and outs of it really. Yeah. But
let's not speculate as well.
She just wasn't the right fit really.
Yeah.
So
that happens, doesn't it? In any job,
exactly.
Like some people are just
And they're really hard jobs to fill as well. You know, it's at the time, because we had grown through David being there. So we'd grown. I think we were sitting around 100 staff at that point. Plus, we had a subsidiary company as well that had about 20 staff.
Because it's grown massively even since, like when I was there, I felt like it was quite, just FYI, if anyone doesn't know, that was my first proper job anyway. I worked at marketing. I was a marketing and communications officer, I think, for about 5 years at Hull and East Yorkshire Mind, and that was my first job. And then I set up Superfly after that. But I remember it felt like quite a big organisation when I was there. There must have been 70 or 80 staff, so it must have dipped and then really rapidly spiked.
Yeah. Well, it did, and we went up to about 100. And but I was given this list, and then I had to go out and meet all these people, and immediately. I was so frightened of going out and talking to these people.
Again, was that an imposter syndrome situation?
That's excuse me. That is all that it was. And as soon as I went out, I mean, I still meet all of those people now as well. I meet them regularly. We have really good relationships, and through those meetings, that's how we started to grow. So Humber Foundation Trust particularly give us a lot of money to help them run their services. The NHS cannot run all of the services themselves, or if they do, they tend to be quite expensive because of the staff that they take. So they work with us to run their services. So it's meant that we have grown. So I think now we're sitting at around 160, 170 staff in that. And with our subsidiary, we're sitting at about 70 or 80 staff. And now I'm not intimidated at all. I don't have the imposter syndrome. I do get told off by my peers because if I introduce myself to anybody, I just say, I'm Emma and I work at Mind. And they say, you need to be shouting about the position who you are. And I think, well, I never want anybody to feel intimidated by me because I am just a person at the end of the day. And I know the same as everybody else. I might just know a little bit more about mental health strategy and funding and those things. But we all bring something. My position doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that is kind of a nice way of looking at it. you have to bring in people that are good at what they do. You can't do everything, can you? But I suppose a good leader, I suppose, is good at organising those people and being empathetic to the people that you work with every day.
Yeah, definitely. And that's really important as well, is having that right team there. So now that we're bigger and we've been able to put a team in place, I let them get on with it, and I'm out and about all the times. And now the internal stuff that I loved so much, I hate being in the office.
Yeah.
If I'm in the office for one full day a week is nice, but I want to be out and about. I want to be meeting people and talking about the work that we do. So it's amazing how you do change, and it's practice makes perfect, isn't it? So the more that you do it, the more comfortable you become. And that's what's happened, really. So the imposter syndrome has kind of gone away a little bit. And I talk to other chief execs of smaller charities now about how they feel, because we all feel it. And it's a very woman-heavy industry, charity. And women tend to get that imposter syndrome a lot more than men do as well. So helping them understand that, we're all the same.
Yeah.
But it is difficult. And sometimes I'll talk to them about how I used to be and how I am now. But I'm always very conscious that I would never want to come across as cocky and like I know it all, because I absolutely don't. There's always something to learn, isn't there?
Yeah. And do you think, because although you say like your imposter syndrome is not as much, and it probably still is always there, I think, to some degree, unless you're arrogant, I think. And then arrogance is a blind spot ultimately, isn't it? But do you think, so you've done that in like, how long? 10 years?
Well, we've grown it in 5 years.
Yeah.
I've been chief exec for 5 years.
So 5 years
6 years,
So 5 years, it seems like you've gone from like, I can't do this job, to actually, I am good at this job.
Yeah. Definitely. But, and now I'm moving on to the next thing. So, now I'm very comfortable. Put me with the NHS, put me with the local authorities. I'm so comfortable. It's dead easy.
And that's because you've done it and you've experienced it, and you've been in those meetings, and you've probably, well, I don't know, but you've probably thought, oh God, this is going to be so intimidating. When you've got in the actual meeting itself, it's like, actually, no, I do know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. And now I'm trying to move away from that a little bit and let my team do it and start getting out and talking to corporates. But I feel that same imposter syndrome because I've not done that before. So going out and talking to companies, I think, oh God, they're better than me. So it's creeping back in. But I just keep telling myself, look where you were 5 years ago, how you felt. It's exactly the same. It's going to be practice makes perfect. And, it's just, so it does come back in as you try and do different things.
I think you've worked incredibly hard at it, and you deserve it, and you're really good at it. From what my experience of an outsider looking in, a short period of time, I genuinely do think you're nailing it.
Thank you. That's a really nice thing to say. And it is going pretty well.
Yeah.
I think it's going to get very, very difficult over the coming months as funding's being taken away from us left, right and centre, not just us, all charities. Things that are happening with the government, things that are happening in the world, it impacts us.
It does,
and, so it's not going to be easy.
No.
So we do need to think about how are we going to be innovative? How are we going to diversify what we do so that we can keep going? We don't really need to grow anymore, but we do need to still be sustainable and be great at what we do. So that's the next challenge.
Yeah. So sat next to you is Kate, and she's now the head of your board of trustees. So how did that happen?
I'm just so horrified that you were so uncomfortable about the job. You dreamt about getting locked in a safe. Horrified.
I did. Yeah, it was awful. It really was awful. But that's how. I think sometimes as well we feel that we're not. It's not about capability. That we don't deserve it, or that somebody's going to come and take it away from us. Somebody's going to find us out. That's what we think. Every day, a lot of the time. Yeah. They're going to find out that really I can't do this job, and I'm going to get sacked. And we all go through that, don't we? And I don't go through it anymore, really. It'll creep in sometimes, but that is how I felt. Well, what are they doing? Why are they giving me this job to do?
And they're going to see through me in a minute and wonder how on earth I got here, and then
Yeah.
everyone's going to know I'm a fraud.
Exactly.
Honestly, daily, Nick, daily.
Yeah.
But no, just to reassure you, you've got a trustee on either side of you right now, and don't
Yeah,
ever let
that's
that happen, because we are here to support you.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
a big
That's
part
how
of
it
our
feels.
role.
Yeah.
God, I'm absolutely horrified I never got that bad. I knew you were a reluctant CEO, obviously it's before my time. I knew you were a reluctant CEO, and you're absolutely smashing it out the park now, but God, to ever feel that bad is terrible.
Yeah.
For a mental health support charity as well.
Yeah.
So that's something that we'll pick up in one-to-ones.
Yeah.
But so I'm the chair of Hull and East Yorkshire Mind, very proud chair of Hull and East Yorkshire Mind. I just saw it advertised. I saw a trustee position advertised 2.5 years ago, maybe. So I am, in effect, it's not my title, but I am, in effect, a charity chief exec myself. I work to a chair and a board of trustees. And I wanted to sit on the other side. I just wanted to experience that, see what I might learn that I could bring back to my own charity, improve my own charity's governance and that kind of thing. But I've loved it. I've absolutely loved it. We did the first year just as a trustee, and then the old chair was stepping down. He'd reached the end of his term. And so I applied. It was advertised amongst the existing trustees, and I applied. And Emma was so mean to me. She said, "We're going to do proper interviews. This is the interview situation, and we're treating everyone the same."
Yeah.
So then I'm thinking, oh, hang on. I went into this thinking maybe. The minute she kind of like made out that someone else might be in the running, I thought, right, this is it. The sleeves are up. And,
Yeah.
And we're treating everyone the same. So I went for my interview, came out, and I thought, well, I've just blown that. I have blown that. I couldn't remember my words, and she asked me something about fundraising. I don't know anything about fundraising, and I'm a qualified fundraiser. It was one of those really, oh my God, what have I just done? And then one of them rang me and offered it. So then when Emma and I were like catching up, I said, right, come on, you've got to tell me who else went for it. And she went, nobody.
You're like, oh.
Okay, right, this is how we're going to play it, is it? I
Yeah.
but by God, it kept me on my toes. And it really, and I hope I made a good account of myself.
You did.
And that.
No, you absolutely
you had no
did.
choice, did you?
No, we did, because we'd said, I think it was, there were three of us, weren't there? Me and two trustees.
Yeah.
And we said, so I always say we must never panic buy. I say it about employees as well,
I've
just
learned
because
the hard way that mistake.
It's so important, isn't it? Because you waste so much time bringing in the wrong person. So I'd said to the trustees, we mustn't panic buy, and if Kate isn't quite ready yet, that's fine. We'll just carry on and go another year. But you were.
It made me want it so much more.
Yeah.
If I went in thinking I'd like to do this, before I applied, I went in thinking, I'd quite like to do this. My God, I walked into the interview thinking, well, I'm going to die if I don't get it. It was I just wanted it so much at that point.
I think from a fit, like a fit into mine, that like you're kind of like the perfect fit.
Oh, I love it. I really love it.
To come in and the type of personality that you are, I think is it like it. You were one of the reasons why I applied for it as well, because it's like, Kate's running, like she's cool, she's like she's done all this like cool stuff within the community and marketing and stuff. So what's your journey to get to this level?
It's not as exciting as that. It's very boring. I left school at 16 because I hated it, and I had no idea what I wanted to do ever, and I just went from like admin job to admin job.
Did you?
Yeah, just no focus. Wanted my beer money, that kind of thing.
You're local, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm born and bred in Ferriby. I've been there all my life.
Yeah, so just down the road.
Yeah. And then I fell into a really well-paid admin job, and I thought, oh, this is really good. But then it was taken really serious. It was a quango at the time, and I got to work on some really exciting projects, and I started working with well-known names locally, and I started thinking, I could probably be a little bit more than an admin, actually. And it just inspired me, and I worked with some great people, and I thought, I can do a lot more than being admin. I really can. This is what my calling. But at that point, I think I had both my kids. So I'll have been in my 30s and thinking, oh, actually, I do definitely want more. So I did a CIM qualification.
God, they're hard as well.
Yes.
I haven't even done one of those. I was like,
really
not doing
hard.
that. No.
Well, I decided that I'd probably left my brain at school. I just didn't know how to learn or anything. It was really hard. And I had 2 kids.
God, yeah.
Yeah, it was really hard. And I decided that that's absolutely what I wanted to do. I wanted to work in marketing. And then the funding was pulled. And I met an amazing man that everybody knows called John Buttrick, who ran the Children's University, at a charity football match. And it was at the time the Labour government had just got in and they were pulling all the additional funding. So we were losing our funding. So I needed a job. And with 2 small kids, I really needed a job. And John and I just hit it off, absolutely hit it off. And he said, what are you like for fundraising? And I thought, well, I've never done fundraising in my life. And he said, but you're good at working with businesses. I said, I've done that. And he said, why don't you come and work for me? And I thought, no way. You know, the first time I've looked for a job in 10 years and I've just been offered it at a charity football match. Yeah. But I was being made redundant. So I did. But then it turns out, now I know so much more, so many people who work in charities fell into it. Yeah. You know, they didn't think I'm going to go and have a career working for a charity. No. But when they get in, it's like they suddenly find their purpose. Yeah. And that is absolutely what happened to me. Loved helping people.
I think that's the biggest thing when you work for a charity. It's like the end goal is to help people. Yeah. And there is something kind of like warming about that. Yeah. Like rather than ultimately the end goal to make money. It doesn't have the same kind of hit, I don't think, from like a self-satisfaction thing anyway, from my experience. No. Yeah.
Totally. No. But it's really common in our sector, isn't it? Yeah, it really is that people fall into it because they need a job and then just find that it was really what they were looking to do all their life.
Yeah, but what I found really interesting as well is that I never thought I was ambitious. So like growing up and being at school and all the rest of it, I would never have said I'm an ambitious person and I'm going to achieve this, this and this. Do you feel the same that there was no ambition? What about you, Nick?
So I did. So I guess that's interesting.
Really? Yeah, it is.
Might be a gender thing. I don't know because obviously,
could be.
Being a man, I've probably grown up in a different world. Even.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's maybe not really for me to say, but I feel like there is definitely men and boys and girls and men and women have been definitely treated differently.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to
I think
be virtuous there.
Not to embarrass you, but I think there's an age thing as well.
Yes.
So we're the same age. When we went to school, certainly at my school, if you weren't academic, which I absolutely was not, nobody was really interested in you.
Yeah.
People didn't look at different ways of learning back then.
Yeah.
It was if you're not book and academic learning, then, you know, really they overlooked you. They're all looking at who was on their uni path and that kind of thing.
I think that was still there. That's kind of what I experienced, but maybe there were other subjects that were starting to get a bit more kind of like kudos. I think now, like if you think about jobs and the like even with marketing, it's like we're just looking at people's creativity in their portfolio rather than I don't even look at the GCSEs. I sometimes look at the A-levels, but then it's A, have you got a good attitude, and B, are you creative? Have you got the right skills? Not, but no, I it's not like I felt like super ambitious, but the idea of having a business always was attractive, just because I like a challenge as well.
Yeah.
I like to be challenged.
And has it been challenging?
Fucking hell. Yeah. Like I'm 12 years in now and it's really satisfying to have like to have almost created this from I started in the back bedroom. Like when I left mine, I just was like, right, buy a computer, go. And get out and meet as many people as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have. I think you get used to the highs and the lows, and you've probably experienced this as well because you've basically kind of got a similar job, but you're managing more people, but you've still got to think about money coming in, money going out, hiring people, maybe letting people go, and some things are really horrible to do.
Yeah, they are.
And people aren't very nice to you as well. No. And you often, as the leader, you often get the hits and the daggers.
Yeah.
And especially when you go through things for the first time, like even like there's a perception of being like someone who runs a business or runs an organisation, and you're like the bad guy because you're the boss. When I've had some people treat me like really badly, and
Yeah.
I've got to like take that, move on, and I think that's
and that has really over the last 6 months, I've learnt that it's like water off a duck's back now, and that's only just happened where things just don't bother me. So with some of my team, I'll say to them, ring me on a Friday at 3:30 and offload all your problems to me, because I don't hold them anymore. I just don't. Not other people's problems. And and it's been a real revelation to me that, I think, wow, this is really good for me, because I'm not. Before I'd be saying, do not ring me on a Friday. You're not spoiling my weekend. Just spoil your own weekend. Hold those problems and those
you deal
thoughts.
with that.
But now, it just doesn't bother me. I can let them tell me, and I can let it go immediately. It's just quite incredible, really. It's a lovely feeling to have, because there's nothing worse than going into a weekend and you being worried because somebody has passed a monkey to you, basically.
Hot potato.
A hot potato, left it with you, and you're the one worrying about it.
I mean, it's different. I don't really have that on a Friday afternoon when in like business and corporate, people just tend to wind down. On a Friday afternoon, you don't like the emails tend to be a bit deader, basically. Deader's not a good
is like
word.
that. It is like that. Deader.
Deader.
It is like that for us as well, actually. Yeah, Fridays are, I call it nice people Fridays. Only nice people are allowed to be booked in my diary on a Friday.
No meetings on
I've
Friday.
made it on a Friday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you have, yeah.
Amazing.
So, if people hear this, and they're only offered Monday.
Exactly.
It's not available on a
I
Friday.
think generally, like, I try to avoid booking meetings on a Monday and a Friday, just because on a Friday I want to try and wind down. Like usually in the middle of the week, it's been intense.
Yeah.
And on a Monday, like no one. There are not many people that enjoy Monday. I honestly love my job and love working with the people that I work with. And still, on a Monday, I'm just like, oh God. It's
Yeah.
And I just think that's it's not. So anyway, we've interrupted your story.
Yes, we have.
So you were at the
children's uni.
Yeah.
And I just loved it. I just knew that's where I needed to be. Absolutely.
And was that because it gave you like the satisfaction that you were doing something meaningful?
But I found out that I was really good at fundraising, surprisingly, because I didn't think I would be. I really didn't. And when I got into the role, I didn't realise what a big part of the role it was going to be. And I remember talking to one of the trustees saying, I've never asked anybody for money in my life, and I just don't think I'll be able to do this. But then I went out with John on some of the learning experiences, and I met these kids that are just completely overlooked in life, really overlooked. And they're not always encouraged by their parents or caregivers to make the best of themselves. And just, it really showed me my own privilege as well, really showed me my privilege, which, I think is a good thing for all of us from time to time. Yeah. And it just made me think, actually, I'm not asking for myself. I'm asking for these kids who can't ask for themselves.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, I had this real purpose. And it also showed me how privileged my own kids were, that, every night I went home to these two kids that were adored and told they could do anything they ever want to turn their heads to. And it turned out I was really good at it. And I just thought, this is me. This is my calling in life. And I've never really looked back. And so for all I don't work for a charity now, I work for the Co-op. One of our founding principles is community, care for the community, give back to the community, help others.
It always has been, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
As long as I've known the Co-op has existed, it's always been, they're called the Co-op.
Yeah,
so
they are. It's oh my God, short. Is it 180 years old this year?
Is it?
Year?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I should absolutely know that,
is it
shouldn't
actually?
I? Yeah, I might ask you to cut this.
But
it is. It is. But we have 7 founding principles.
Just get you to redub it in.
We have 7 founding principles, and I can't tell you all of them either. Again, I should be able to. But care for the community is one, which is why the Co-op gives so much of its profits back. Education being another, but equality and equality for all. And all of a sudden, all these things that I really stand for are also the things that the business that I work for, the Co-Oprative that I work for, was founded upon. And so I still feel that I'm kind of in the third sector because but that's right. That's really right for me.
It's almost like a perfect
I love it. I really do.
And that is a really good job. Like, how did you jump from the Children's University, see that role and be like, I want to do that?
No, again, completely fell into it. So no, I had my head turned and I went to work for a marketing agency.
Oh, wow.
Which, yeah.
Poor you.
Do you know what I found out? I found out that I'm not organised enough to do that. Because you've got to have your different portfolios and what have you, and that just wasn't me.
I'm not very organised, but I have people around me that are organised, so that's okay.
Yeah, I'm very flirty as well. I think to be a leader, though, I think that you can't be that organised. I think you need to be able to flirt around and dip in and out of things. I think that's really important.
And this is why we need a different skill set around us on the board of trustees,
Yes.
because our skill set are so
100%.
similar.
Yeah.
They really
Yeah.
are, which is great for a chair and a chief exec, but we do need others as well to bring in that other thinking, because if not, we'll just go away with the fairies, because we're so, focused on what we want to do and how we want to help, and we need other people to sometimes say, right.
I already think with the trustees that have been brought in as well, they offer such, like, me and it's Faye, isn't it?
Yes.
Me and Faye, like, the polar opposites almost in personality, and I'm thinking, how have you done this? But then I'm thinking, I'm just not gonna be like that. I bring something different.
Yes.
And that's the great thing about bringing people together with different skills to benefit everybody.
Absolutely.
And Faye's like amazing. Her attention to detail is just incredible.
She is.
Like, and to have her is an absolute asset.
Yeah.
But then
we have got a brilliant board. I'm really pleased with it. But I know we're still looking for a couple more. But I'm really
amazing.
pleased with our board now.
Yeah. It's a good dynamic board, isn't it?
Yeah.
And with lots of different skill sets. And we do just need to plug a couple of gaps. But once that's done, it'll be great.
Yeah, we're in a really good place. But fundraising and marketing are so similar.
Yes.
They really are. And the skills needed and everything. You're basically trying to promote a product or a service and tell people that that's what they need to, and then get them to buy into it. And whether that's buying the product that you're marketing, or whether that's buying into the charity and helping the beneficiaries, they are so similar. So it wasn't like I had to learn all new skills anyway. But yeah, definitely the marketing, it just wasn't. I just didn't find it as fulfilling. It was directly seeing the people that I was helping that really did it for me.
Yeah.
And then I saw advertised. It was a brand manager for a charity. So I thought, okay, let's probably bring in both of my skills. And then I got in, that's 11 years ago, and I've just job crafted, really. So I read Squiggly Careers a couple of years ago, and it says about, to get to your next one, you can job craft and, see where you are, see where you want to be, and what do you have to do to get there.
Job craft.
Yeah,
I've never heard of that. So.
You need to read Squiggly Careers. It's such a good book. It really is. And it helps you really find out what your strengths are and what your values are. And it's really helped me in my career. So I was trying to think of some of the skills that I've learned on the job. So I haven't got any formal qualifications in equity, diversity and inclusion. So I've spent a lot of time working with, so we've got colleague networks. Yes, upskilling. But then building that into my role profile. And so for the charity that I run, for it to truly support all members of the community, we need to look at where maybe we have a knowledge gap. So, for example, all of my team are white. We all look like me, actually. We're all women. We're all white. We're all
got pink hair?
No, that's my trademark. One of them did have some pink braids put in, which was fantastic.
Pink is my thing.
That's how I know, innit, for succession planning, the one who gets the pink hair, that's it. Well, the funny thing is our charity's logo and brand, everything about it is pink, which was there before I started, I think is important to say. It's not like I've crafted it around me. So yeah, we're all white, we're all like me. And so for us to know, so we know that we probably wouldn't think of a mosque, for example, as being the first place that we could support through our charity. That's what we do. We make donations. And we also have no knowledge of that area. So I've made a point of learning about different cultures, different religions.
Understanding.
And learning more about the LGBT community and just generally things that isn't my way of life, so that I can be better at running our charity and helping more people.
Well, you're going to be able to help those communities more if you know more about it.
Yeah.
Because then surely that just kind of makes sense, doesn't it? So how does it work then? So you've got, just my understanding of it, because I don't know how it works. So you've got Co-op and Nisa, which is obviously the shops.
Yeah.
Then you've got the charity.
Yeah.
And that fundraises for who?
It's so confusing. So when I took the job 11 years ago, I went to work for Nisa Retail,
Yeah.
which was owned by, so when you see a Nisa on the street, that it was owned by those people. Every single Nisa is independently owned and run. They're all completely independent. Nisa was just like a wholesalers. They just, the retailers used to buy from us. And then in 2018, the Co-op bought us, as in the Co-Oprative, bought us.
Right.
And so we became the wholesale area of the Co-op. So when you see a Nisa, and we've got one in Hull that supports Jamal's charity, Peel Project. He supported him a lot. It's a brilliant charity in Hull, helping the Muslim community. A lot of our retailers are Muslim as well, so it was a real obvious connection there as well. When the Co-op bought us, they started selling their own brand, which is, hugely recognised brand, all sustainable, all English farmers, all of that, all the really good stuff. Started selling it through Nisa. So Nisa it still trades as Nisa Wholesale, but it's also internally, we call it Co-op Wholesale. So I stayed with them.
Is it Nisa or Nisa?
Well, it's an acronym. It started as the Northern Independent Supermarket Association.
Oh, I never knew that.
Every day's school day, innit?
Yeah, that's really interesting.
It's younger than me. It's about 45, 46 years ago.
Still old then.
Ancient.
It's not quite as catchy.
No, it's not, is it?
No. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter. It's whichever, it's an acronym.
Yeah.
Did you have any involvement in the City of Culture?
Kind of. Behind the social media campaign.
Yeah.
Loads of businesses got involved in that, didn't they? And yeah.
I just saw your name.
God, that's
quite a bit.
forever ago.
It is 2017, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
It's 8 years ago.
But when we were bidding for it as well, it was at least 1, if not 2 years before.
I feel like the whole City of Culture has made actually quite a profound difference to Hull. I think, especially that area where it was focused.
Yeah.
And I feel like when people come to Hull now, they don't think it's shit anymore. Like
people are surprised by it, aren't they? And that's great. But when anybody comes, I don't know about you, I think, right, I must get them to Marina. I must get them on Humber Street.
Marina or Old Town, I think.
Yeah, Old Town as well. To like where Trinity is. Oh, it's just gorgeous around there, isn't it? But I always try and get to Humber Street. So I just think, ta-da! That's what I feel like saying. This is Hull, so it's just lovely.
That's exactly what I did in Pride last year. So I'm part of. So the Co-op has employee resource groups, or we call them colleague networks, but employee resource groups. And I'm on the committee for the LGBT one, which is called PRISM. And so a lot of my friends came over for Pride in Hull last year, and that's exactly what I did. As soon as the official bit were open, it was getting around the marina. Yeah. And I'm trying to get more here this year as well.
Yeah, it's good. It's nice.
Because you've got like all like the water, like we are like we're a former like dock pretty much. And a lot of Hull was bombed in World War II and stuff like that, and you don't really know about that. And,
was it the third or second most bombed city in the country, wasn't it, after London? So there should be so much more made of that, shouldn't there? But there isn't.
End of the road though, isn't it? And M62.
But so is Liverpool, and look at Liverpool.
True.
It's such
that
a
was
great
European
city.
capital of culture, wasn't it?
Liverpool? It was, yeah. But when you go to Liverpool as well, it's exactly the same as here. When you get to the Docklands area, and it's just like the marina.
Yeah, it is similar. I've only been a couple of times.
Me too. But I was really surprised. I thought that's the end of the line. It's the M62 is Hull to Liverpool, isn't it? And it's it's the same. It's interesting. But they've got the football club, and I think that brings a lot of
we have a
revenue.
football club, Emma.
They have a Premier League football club that often wins the league.
Yeah, they do have it. They have a rich culture of sport, especially in football. I know we've got two rugby teams, but Liverpool Football Club obviously has been massive for the best part of 40 or 50 years.
When people find out I'm from Hull, they do often say, "Oh, rugby." I mean, for a start, I'm from the wrong side of the city because there's a very east-west thing, isn't there? Yeah. But I've just never really got rugby.
No,
I'm not a huge fan.
I'm not a huge fan, but I quite like going. I do like going to watch it. And,
I do, yeah.
Yeah, and I would say that I'm a Westie as well, so I'm Hull FC, not Hull KR, but I don't really understand it very much.
I really enjoyed it when we did some work with Foundation, the Hull FC Foundation for us.
Yeah, amazing.
And it was like some branding stuff, and then we got like a hospitality. We got paid in like goodies, basically.
Yeah.
And we went, and they got absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
But I still found it. I enjoyed the day, and they looked after us, and it was great. And
Yeah.
I enjoyed. I mean, I like sport in general, but it was a spectacle.
And Hull FC we're their charity partner for. They do a like community takeover, don't they? So we're going to be on their shirts for 2 games, which is really good, isn't
That's
it?
really
So
good. Yeah,
branded, and I think we'll be doing some fundraising maybe on those days as well. But yeah, that's really nice just to be. We've had it with Hull KR before. But yeah, Hull FC, they've sent us the shirt designs and it looks good.
Ace.
Yeah,
that's exciting.
It is.
So, Kate, just to complete your arc. So you've been there, up to the present day, you've kind of changed your role throughout that, have you? And now you're running that charity side of it.
Yeah.
And then I suppose the second question is that how does that then fit into your trustee role? And is there any synergy? Do you do much mental health stuff at Nisa? Yeah,
I'm a qualified mental health first aider. So we have at the Co-op, we have mental health champions or wellbeing champions, industry leading, I'm told. That it's just basically colleagues who put themselves forward to go on the training. And then we've got little business cards all over the building to say, we're here to talk. Obviously, we're not qualified counsellors, but we're there to talk to people if they want to just have a bit of a download, or we can direct and support people in that way. The Co-op's partnership with Mind, charity partnership with Mind raised, I think, about 8 million a couple of years ago.
Wow.
Not local Mind, national Mind.
Yeah.
We should probably say something about that as well, just because a lot of people don't understand the difference between fundraising for Mind charity that don't do the mental health support in the way that we do, and then fundraising for the local Mind for Hull and East Yorkshire.
And it is really important, isn't it? So National Mind is a campaigning organisation. We basically, it's a federation of charities, and we buy the brand. That's what we do. We're locally managed.
It is a bit like a franchise.
It is a little bit, yeah.
It's like a McDonald's franchise type situation.
Yeah, and it just makes it a little bit hard to fundraise for sometimes, because people will go onto the Charity Commission website and see that Mind is a X £1 million charity, and then they'll go, oh, well, they don't need my support.
Yes.
And we need to dispel that. We need to.
Yeah, we do. It's really important that anybody, because people locally really want to raise money locally, generally, and they think that they're doing that by just raising for Mind, not specifying that it's Hull and East Yorkshire Mind, but it's really important.
Because if people raise money for Hull and East Yorkshire Mind, it goes to helping local people.
Yes. Yep.
Whilst National Mind, it's more, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but it goes to a more of obviously a national, helping people on a national scale, but more an awareness, raising awareness of the issues, whilst Hull and East Yorkshire Mind actually has services and delivers services to help people with their mental health, whatever that is.
And National Mind is absolutely essential. It's really got that part to play that we need, and none of the other minds would exist without it.
Exactly, yeah.
And is it Stephen Fry is our ambassador?
He's the ambassador, yeah.
So he's been for years. I swear he was ambassador when I worked
I think he was, yeah.
And when you've got people like that are willing to talk about mental health in such a public forum, it really helps everybody, everybody.
It does.
So on that, I think the perception of mental health, well, I think anyway, in my opinion, and I might be wrong, so I'd be interested to hear what you guys think, has changed quite dramatically. Since I worked at Mind, what was it, 13, 14 years ago now, the perception of mental health has changed, in my opinion. Do you agree, not agree? What do you think?
I do. I'm obviously not as close to it as you are. But I admit I've learnt so much since I've been involved with Mind, because I thought mental health and poor mental health was like people who look like you and me who were having a bad time. So my mental health suffered terribly when my sister was diagnosed with a terminal brain tumour. And I really struggled. I struggled holding families together, and I was ill, really ill. And that's kind of what I thought was the beginning and end of mental health. And then since I've worked with Mind and I've found out some of the fantastic work that we do, and go back to what I said earlier about you're asking for people who can't ask for themselves. We work with people who are so ill that some days they don't feel that they can get out of bed, and we have people who help them with that. And it just showed me my privilege, and it just showed me how essential it is that we do talk about it, because we talk about what's normal, which is the most ridiculous thing to say ever, because what even is normal?
Well, it's different to every person as well.
Absolutely, it is. And that's why we need to normalise conversations like this about mental health, because there's nothing wrong with it. It's not a failing. It's what you're facing, and we really need to normalise conversations like this.
Yeah, we do. And the perception has changed. The stigma isn't what it used to be at all. I'll never forget when we moved from our old building to our new building, we put in, the reason that we've got 2 entrances in our building now, we moved there in 2014, we have 2 entrances because we didn't want, that there were other businesses in the building, and we didn't want people with mental health problems going in the same way as the corporates, because we felt that the corporates wouldn't be happy with that, and they weren't happy with that. And so we were trying to separate it. And like now I'm really embarrassed about that. And I think we would never do that again. But we created a side entrance. It's almost like a servant's entrance, really, isn't it? The small door around the side. But we created that so that people who were coming to use our services had a different entrance. And now you wouldn't do that. So even in the last 10, 11 years, it's changed so much. And there's a few reasons, isn't there? You know, young people, they talk more. We have social media.
Social media for me is just the biggest
As
thing.
much as we slate social media for some things, the good that it's done is shown that, we can put these things out there and start to normalise it.
Yes.
And seeing celebrities talk about mental health as well has really helped. And I think that's great. On a general basis, brilliant. Let's all get talking. It's wonderful. I think there's nothing better than when you sit down and somebody opens up a little bit, and then you can, and then you open up a bit.
100%.
It's brilliant, isn't it? It's really, really good. But that is talking about it very generally, isn't it? And there are some really poorly people that need help or need more help than what we see as what you were talking about. And they're the people that we really get involved with. But I think just by normalising that conversation, that's the starting point, and that's fine. Yeah. And let's start there, and let us keep plugging away at everything else that we do to try and make people's lives better. But, I think young people, social media, celebrities or influencers as they are as well are so important in this world of trying to normalise how we talk about mental health.
Yeah, and everyone's got their own experiences and their own, everyone's different, aren't they?
Yeah. And we've all got something. Nobody, and there are people that say to me, I don't have mental health problems. And I think, I do, and let me tell you, so this happened. And that's all mental health. And I'll go through it with them. Stress, feeling anxious. Like we were talking earlier, weren't we, about doing the podcast today, and how we might feel a bit anxious about speaking, and have we got enough to say, and do we know enough?
I'm like constantly looking at the clock.
And that feeling anxious, that's to do with our mental health and our well-being, and that doesn't mean that we're really poorly.
100%. I completely agree.
It's just normalising, but there's a huge spectrum of mental health as well.
I think when I was promoting mental health, the big campaign was like 1 in 4 people have a mental health problem throughout their life. I think it's everyone.
I think you're totally agree.
Like, if you absolutely no chance. Like, you're getting away with no mental health problems.
No.
I think maybe you're right when people say the word mental health problems. They think something that's like massively disabling.
Yeah.
And for some people, it can be more disabling than others. And like everything in life, there's a spectrum of how you experience things. Like, I've just gone through, I feel like I'm coming out the other side of parenthood. I've personally found that really challenging. And my wife, Tony, has found that challenging as well, especially in the early days where your life is basically shattered and put back together again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know why? Because everyone says it's so lovely to have a baby.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
For
It's so
God's
lovely.
sake.
So pull yourself together.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
when you're
exactly.
actually there, you're thinking, oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
this
Yeah.
isn't lovely.
This is awful.
Yeah, this is actually
So
awful.
hard.
And you know what? Sometimes I remember, like, Ellis used to get up every 90 minutes on a night.
yeah.
And then he'd be up for 30 minutes, like screaming sometimes. And I just remember thinking, who is saying that thing? Like, when people say, oh, yeah, you just enjoy it there. You just
Yeah.
enjoy it. I'm not, that is awful.
Yeah.
That
There's
is
no enjoyment
that
in
is
that,
not
is
in,
there? No.
I can think of a lot worse things. Like, there's some terrible things that I would enjoy more, like, than that.
But also, and I don't want to really put you off parenthood for life, Nick, because you're in it now. But my youngest went to uni in September. And so, first of all, I had this massive empty nest thing. My 21-year-old still lives with us. But
Yeah, I can imagine that's
she's
really
a
difficult.
party animal, and you know she's out, and she don't need a mum, and you know, so we're more like mates when she's, and it's lovely, and we have a girly night, and we have wine, and you know, with all these lovely things. Whereas when
Yeah.
Ash went, oh God, it was like, you know, just knowing that room was empty, and knowing no one was
yeah.
going to come and make me a cup of tea, or I didn't have to do the school run anymore, which is weird as well after you've done it for years,
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, this kid, where I've known, I mean, obviously Ash is a COVID kid as well, so spent 2 or 3 years doing this in a bedroom, you know, because that's
yeah.
what kids of that age did.
Yeah.
To all of a sudden, making their own food, dressing themselves,
Yeah.
which is still weird, going out and like fending for themselves
Yes.
and all these things. And I'd spent
And
18
trusting
years
in them to do that as well.
which
yeah.
I'm sure they can't do properly because you know, and then I don't know what time they get in or go out or. Oh my God! And my mental health just absolutely plummeted because
Yeah.
I just thought.
like
I mean,
anxious.
I maybe some people might call me a bit of a control freak, and I struggled a bit with that because I was thinking, God, I just don't know where they are. And,
yeah.
But I found that really hard.
bet,
And
yeah.
really, all that had happened is something that happens to loads of people every year.
Yeah.
So, like you, it's like, why do I feel like this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that really affected my mental health
Yeah.
hugely.
It did. I mean, my daughter's in Australia, and it's the other side of the world, isn't it? But what I've noticed is that she's 26 now, so I've got the oldest out of the three of us. I've got the oldest one, and what I've realised is she actually knows stuff now.
Yeah.
And we talk about things, and sometimes I'll go in as mum, and then she'll say something. I think, oh. Yeah, what you've said is better, or you
he's
know
right.
something that
You're right, I'm wrong.
You're right, yeah. But once I got used to that, I was like, this is great because you've done your job then.
Exactly.
haven't you?
I was just
And
about to
it's
say,
just like-
surely isn't that the aim?
Absolutely,
eventually?
it is. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Eventually, you've got a long way to go, Nick. I'm
Yeah.
not, but when you get there, it is great, and it's really freeing as well. And you, but no matter what. Something goes wrong with my daughter, it goes wrong with me.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
immediately,
yeah.
it's the one thing, if she offloads to me, I hold it. It's the one person's problems that I hold because you want to make everything perfect for your children, don't you? And you want their world to just be perfect and lovely and sunshine and flowers, and it isn't always.
Well,
And
it
that's
isn't, is
hard.
it? And that's life. And I suppose that back to the wider mental health. I think every person's different. They've got different personalities. They've got different genes. Every child is different. So then you're constantly comparing life, especially on social media as well. You're like, oh well, they're doing all right. I should be doing all right.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I think mental health with social media is great. The fact that it increases the conversation, but then you've got this comparison culture.
Yes.
Which
is
is toxic.
Oh, it really is. I can't use Facebook. I love Instagram. I love it. And I love TikTok. I've only just discovered TikTok, but oh my God, I lose hours to it.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing. But I will not use Facebook. I just won't because for me, that's where I start thinking, oh, I used to go to school with her and look what she's got and she's married and they're going off to Dubai or they're doing this, that and the other and I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I've just had to stop it. It doesn't do me any good. It makes me feel really down. And so I think it is hard, but I think once you find, if there's social media that doesn't make you feel like that and you can use it,
Yes.
then that's great, isn't it? But it can be hard because it's the FOMO, isn't it?
Yeah.
That fear of missing out if I'm not checking Facebook. But once you get past it, it's fine. And not everybody's like me, but I really, really struggle with Facebook.
I think a lot of people do look at social media and compare themselves to other people.
Definitely.
I think it's very difficult not to do that. I feel like you naturally do that anywhere. Like before social media, you probably do that with your next door neighbour. Now you're comparing yourself to the world rather than your next door neighbour. I think there is that natural, because you're trying to figure out whereabouts you are in the world and in life.
Well, and there's that thing, isn't there? This always flashes up on Instagram of it'll say something like a bit of a meme where when somebody suddenly starts posting powerful quotes and pictures of them on their own, the first thing you do is investigate after split up with the partner. You just do, don't you? Can't help it. The minute somebody's on there, you're like, oh my God, what's happened? Right, I'm going to find out.
Change their profile picture from them and their partner to them on their own. You're
Looking
like,
fantastic.
With the sunset in the background.
I don't need no man and all of that.
Inspiring quotes that just fill the page.
So we've briefly talked about like mental health and how it's changed. Do you have any thoughts or views on how it might change in the next 10 years rather than the last 10 years? What do we think
I think
will have an impact?
I think locally, what we're really starting to see and talk about a lot with strategically is really moving into prevention and early intervention, because what happens is with the NHS, there's a real focus on crisis. So we let people get into crisis and then we help them. And we keep talking about a mental health crisis, don't we? And we hear that a lot. And my job is to bang the drum for prevention and early intervention, and that's what I do. And the problem with that is that if we start that today, it's going to take 10 years to realise. And for the NHS, for local authorities, as much as they might want to do it, that's really difficult because you're not necessarily seeing results for quite some time.
And often they've got targets to meet,
They've
got funders to...
They do. It's really, really difficult. But my hope is that that's what we're going to move towards. Otherwise, we're going to be living in a perpetual world of crisis, and we can't carry on like that. No. We can't let children become adults with the same problems that they had as children, but then that could get into crisis point or not getting the same help that they might have had as children. And we are seeing that those things happen. So my hope would be, I can't say how I think it's going to go because I think it's very difficult at the moment, but my hope, and knowing how we're talking locally, is that we do shift it into prevention, early intervention for people.
And when you say early intervention, what type of things is that? Is that like counselling? Is that CBT therapy? Is that what type of thing is it?
Yeah, well, I think that there's a lot of services out there, and I think it's how we tell people about them. I think it's about the comms and how do people know that there's a mental health support line, for example? We run it for the whole of Hull and East Riding for adults. We get 100 calls a day to that. So at least 100 people know about it, don't they? Each
100 calls a day?
Yeah, we can do, yeah.
Do you think that's a lot?
Yeah. You, not.
100 calls a day from people in Hull and East Yorkshire who are struggling with their mental health. I feel like that's profound.
There are some of those are repeat callers,
of course, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in the beginning, well, it's reduced a little bit, but we're getting up to 150 calls a day.
150 calls a day?
Yeah.
What's that like?
It just shows you it's not 1 in 4.
5,000, 6,000 calls a month?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a very busy line. I can't remember where I started with that, though. I can't remember why I said that now.
Nick asked what early intervention looks like.
Oh, what it looks like. So you might not know that line's there because you don't need to use it, do you? But for me, there are services available, and there might be gaps, there might be things missing. But how do people know about the services? Someone once told me that, and you'll know this as marketing, but someone once told me that until somebody says to you, oh, for God's sake, stop telling me about that, then you haven't told everybody. So, for example, 999 there used to be adverts all the time. And now we all know what 999 is for, don't we?
Yeah, that's
because
like part
it's
of
been
our culture
yeah,
almost.
it is. But in the early days, it was marketed constantly until everybody knew it. And until everybody is saying, yeah, I know the number, or yes, I know that's available, then you haven't done your job. And for me, that's what we need to do. We're not consistent with telling people. We run a campaign, don't we? Or we'll run a campaign for 3 months to say, did you know that children can access this group to get support? But after 3 months, if somebody hasn't seen it in that 3 months, then they don't know about it.
Yeah,
So there's
3 months
something.
is a short period of time, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
So there's something for me around those comms, and that's what I mean about early intervention in a way, about all these things that are available. It could be a youth club. There's so many things that it can be. It doesn't have to be counselling. It might just be a group or...
So do you think it's even before like therapeutic kind of interventions?
Yeah.
It's like almost like an education level before that.
Absolutely, yeah. It's that education part of it.
And for me, I think there's opportunities around workplace wellbeing as well, because poor mental health costs businesses millions every year. Whether that's people being off sick or whether it's people coming to work but not bringing their best self to work because they're not in a good place and people not understanding that. And I think that there's a real opportunity for businesses to do more to support their employees
I
too.
completely agree. And I think that businesses are... that they'll sign up to a large company that says, you know, your staff can access this, this and this, and it might be counselling on the phone. And what we know is that employees don't actually like that. But for the business, they're saying, well, you know, we're offering this.
We're doing
and
it.
I get it. Yeah, and I really do understand it. But that's also something that can be offered locally as well. That's something that we do for businesses. But all too often, they've already signed up with a national company, but the employees don't always engage with everything. And it's because it's a distant person, it's on the end of a phone, they want to actually talk to somebody. So, yeah, I think there's a real opportunity there as well.
What we did with ours, we had Yvonne and Lisa come in, and it's a 2-day for the trade mental health first aiders, which is a nationally recognised qualification. Lisa and Yvonne came in and ran that session for 2 days, and we all went off to the boardroom. There were 16, 18 of us. And we just spent those 2 days. So not only did we learn something and get that qualification, but we spent all that time together. So we're suddenly a new little network or community or whatever. And so we've still got our Teams channel going, even though it's well over a year ago
All experienced that together as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you share things in those learning experiences that you probably wouldn't share normally.
Yes.
So then you connect, don't you? And you bond. And so we've got that going. And now we still put things in the group chat from time to time to say, have you seen, it's time to talk day? Or, you know, what are we doing for time to talk? Should we do a bake sale? And that kind of thing. But then also, oh, by the way, I've just been contacted by a man who doesn't actually want to talk to a woman. Is any of the group free? And we're providing that. And I would like to think that's saving people from going off sick or helping people bring their whole selves to work. And
it's difficult because you actually don't know, do you? That's the whole thing with those things, like the education piece. You don't know the impact of that, really, because would they have gone off sick or wouldn't they?
No.
It's so difficult.
And also, there is still, like, I know everything that we've discussed, there is still a stigma there.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, we did a podcast with a couple of people who work in HR, and we were talking about the differences in like generations, like, you know, like millennials and baby boomers and all that stuff. And there is still, the culture kind of helps shape kind of the person. Obviously, everything, your parents, that you how much money you've got, like, shapes you, but the culture and the era you were born are still not holistically, but does have an impact.
Yeah. What are we, Gen X?
I always get confused.
Gen X or Gen Z?
My
Gen Z.
daughter's favourite insult
Gen
to
Z
my
are young.
husband is boomer. But he's not a boomer, is he? He's
No.
only 51. And boomers are...
I think
No, we're Gen
my
X.
parents are boomers,
Yeah,
and they're
my
like
parents are
late
boomers.
60s.
Yeah, mine are early
Right.
70s. I think we're Gen X. And I'm going to send you something, because if I read Gen X, it's me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you read the
It'll be me
traits
then.
of a
Yeah,
person,
yeah.
it will be. and where we would just go out when we were younger, we'd literally go out all day and,
I've seen
play
that
out.
on Instagram. Don't mess with women that age because,
because we're badass. Really.
Yeah, and they've been through it. And
it's true.
Well,
it's really interesting. Yeah.
Maybe that's what shaped you to become the CEO.
Possibly.
Playing outside.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit more than that, but yeah.
Without your mum knowing where you were.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Believe that, Carl.
Cool. Well, I think we could talk for another hour, but I think that's a good place to stop. Sorry, but thank you.
Thank you for having us. It's been
really
interesting and good to talk.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Thank you.
And just to shout out to where you both kind of work again, like how can people access the service if they feel like they're struggling, or if they just want to kind of talk to someone? What happens? How?
Yes, I think anybody wanting to access Mind, we've got our website, heymind.org.uk, or you can give us a call on Hull 240 200. But also for any businesses that are interested in working with us, that want to have a chat with me about what things are like in their business for their employees, I'm more than happy to come out and have a coffee.
That's nice.
And for me, if you're not a member of the Co-op, become a member.